Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Ras Tafari, the lion's voice.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Ras Bonsu.
Greetings, this is Ras Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yes, Jah people, this is Michael Shamaya representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. But people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Alright, listen to me now, people. The lion roar, no dog bark. See? The lion's voice with Kwasi Bansu. Time right now for the lion to tell his story. See? Listen up.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jah soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's voice. Now put it, I Jollifer said that.
Yeah, now the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial I represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Have the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.
Ras Tafari, Empress Chipo the first. Tell the people about Empress many. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, but to the coming while we stand tall, I will shower you nah budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, through the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start mal, but they see their city streets them flood, when the hurricane blow down our wall, I'll be by your side and me not budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your light was a lifeline. I think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. They say hurt people, maybe that's why Babylon them so evil. Maybe Babylon abused as a child. That's why them no like the light when you smile. That's why them no like how your body curve. The way how you dance get on Babylon nerve. Them no know how the Almighty you serve. Want to be a queen, so a king you deserve. And
what do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's rightful ruler? Hey yo! Yeah, hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them comes without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion way come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come if you tell them in a Toronto, straight at it. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Tonight, we have a very special guest. We are revisiting our theme of Rastafari and STEM. What is STEM? STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Some people like to put the STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, but we have so much creative artists. We don't need to emphasize that. We cannot neglect it because that's where your culture lives. So them know I'm a man where live and breathe the creative industry. However, to build a nation, we really have to direct some of our youths them. And I would even say a good number, if not the majority, to the STEM fields. We need buildings to get built. We're talking about the building of Zion. A new episode is going to be dropping shortly of our series, The Road to Heaven on Earth. Look out for that. But this channel, we're all about building heaven on earth. That Zion, what does that look like? We have to have a goal as a Rastafari and Pan African family. And if it's not the manifestation of heaven on earth, then what we are doing? Babylon is manifesting a system of continuous war, which is hell on earth. You know what I mean? So they have manufactured their reality into a system. So why would we not manufacture ours into a system of heaven on earth? What are the economics of heaven on earth? The trade. There must be some trade. There must be circulation of goods and services in a properly circulating system. So tonight's guest is going to give us a different perspective. This is a historic episode because this is the first time we have someone in the biotechnology field on the Lion Voice Network. So we're going up in the high frequencies. So I want the item, get prepared, Ital Snacks. This sister is also originally from the continent as well. So repatriation, have to be part of the reasoning. You're only going to get this reasoning here on the Lion Voice Network, nowhere else. I was just telling the sister that I wanted to see high level, high frequency Rastafari reasonings with Rastafari brethren and sisters from all walks of life, from all over the earth. And I couldn't find this type of content. So I created it. That is what being an actionist is all about. You take action. And in creating it, I have been able to reason with some of the most amazing Rastafari people. We have destroyed the propaganda that Rastafari is not doing anything. We have kicked down the naysayers who said that we just burn ganja and reggae music and that we water down. We have shown, and trust me, family, I haven't scratched the surface. I'm in some cars and a whole heap of brethren and sisters don't get no reasoning on the Lion Talk yet. You know what I mean? So don't feel like we're running out of guests. No, we are just scratching the surface. His Majesty has risen a mighty multitude to do this Gideon work. You know what I mean? He has risen his angels, thousands, even 10,000s of fire angels. He added up in a Mount Zion. Trust me, we are going to be covering it. So I feel joyful. Before we bring forward the guests, I want to just give some updates. That we have been working on the Rastafari relief project being driven by the RMO. Let me put up the flyer here. We have the Rastafari. Hold on there. I don't want you to get a look at my guest too early. Me just give a little sneak peek because big guest tonight. But we have the Rastafari Relief, Rebuild and Rise RMO led initiative. There are many initiatives coming out of Jamaica. We say support where you can. I've been working, as the item know, as a legal advisor to the RMO, and they have launched this initiative. The goal is 500,000 US dollars, and the vision is not just to provide short-term relief, but to provide the assistance and the ability for some of our centers to really develop intentional development, site plan, really put in place some repatriation hubs where there can be some proper economics, recognizing that the storm offers an opportunity to rethink and reshape how we have built. I'm saying that the zinc fence era of Rastafari should be over now, you know what I mean? And to do that, we're calling on the international Rastafari family to support the efforts. And the item know my philosophy here on the Lion Voice Network. We can aggregate capital. I have 57,000 subscribers on this platform. And
if everyone gave $10, that would be $500,000. So when we're talking about these large sums, we're not talking about nobody going in them pocket for broke themselves. We're talking about developing a mindset of collective security, knowing that the $5 to $10 has power when we aggregate the capital and direct it toward development. And what we've proven on this platform is that we have the professionals who can do the work, who have the track record. Now that we know that now, how can we direct the capital into the hands of these professionals to carry out the development work necessary to bring Rastafari into a new era, to play its part with the rising of the African continent that is currently happening. This historic rise has to have Rastafari as the head. Ras is the head. His Majesty is the father of Africa, non-partial, and I can't be sideliners. I hold that Rastafari is the glue, the only thing I think that can combat tribalism. But we have to get rid of it among ourselves. So we have the Rastafari Relief Rebuild Rise project. You can scan the QR code. We'll put the link in the description. I wanted to also just play some footage that we receive of the RMO in action. There has been at least 2 excursions. The RMO has been sending out delegations every strong in to provide just some hot meals, give out some care packages. So we're not waiting on the GoFund to be fully funded. Efforts are happening on the ground. Organizations are coming together to do the little that they can. So we just want to show some of this footage. As Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media, we have a responsibility. And this is Ras Simba from the House of Dread in Jamaica. House of Dread is one of the foundation institutions and one of the founding members of the RMO. This is the brethren bubbling a pot, a sip to take to our people. And I believe this was delivered to the Pit for Naya Bingi Center. So, it's not no whole heap or guan, but brethren, and multiply this across the board. So this is them things, them package up, water, and that is the type of effort that is being done right now, among other efforts. What we're trying to do, even right now, there's a call RMO is centralizing with some of the other Rastafari groups around, because many ones are rallying. This is a time of great Inity. So we are using the disaster again to reshape, because forward movements, we're not dwelling on the past. We are now looking and seeing how we can come together as the global Rastafari family and prepare for the repatriation, because these are just the beginning of wars. Earthquake in diverse places, wars, rumors of wars, famine, pestilence, hurricane, storm. We know that. We chant it. We were the ones who tell the nations through music and through chanting that this time was coming. So now that it's here, we're not going to be shell-shocked and behave like we don't know, but we have to prepare better. We were not prepared. We have to be honest. And now we have to rise to the occasion and to meet the challenges with confidence, with confidence, knowing that I were built for these times. Do I see it? All right, so before we bring forward the guests, the item know when you see I sipping during the episode, I'm sipping from Ramia King Design. This is one of our Rastafari businesses that we sponsor. Also today I want to highlight, we have the Rastafari calendar, Empress Menin calendar, Mama Ascali shipment reach. So we're going to be having a giveaway. We have 3 of these calendars to give away, and we still have Lion of Judah jacket sent by our elder Johnny Johnson. We're going to Lion of Judah upon the forward. We're going to have a giveaway. We're trying to think about what the contest look like. But we're going to be giving away a package, and I probably throw in one of my books as well. Haile Selassie's Ethiopia, Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings. So we're gonna have something. We're trying to drive people to the Patreon. Our monthly subscribers, we're down to 40. We lost some people. It's hard times, family. Again, we're trying to get to 1,000. So we're not gonna stop until we reach that. Big up my Lion Pride on Patreon, our monthly subscribers who are the economic engine of the platform. We are in the process of getting some more equipment. So you see the quality going back and forth. We're working on it. So you'll see us switch to the fancy camera soon and better visuals, you know what I mean? But big up our monthly subscribers who invest in Rastafari independent non-aligned media. We are going to have our town hall meeting this Sunday for all our Patreon family. So big up all of the item, you know what I mean? It's a joy. Let us know if you're watching live. Let us know where you're watching from in the comment section. We know this is a global platform, you know what I mean? Some of my African family, them stay up late or wake up early for this too. We had our brethren from Zambia on the last live. So big up all of the global family. Let us know where you're watching from. All right. Big up. Let us get the housekeeping out of the way and introduce my guest. She's had a long day, so I know I am so grateful for her coming on this platform. And this again shows how exclusive these sister and brethren, most of them you see on this platform don't do interviews regular. You know what I mean? These are working people who are making a huge difference. However, now again, we want to show the world Rastafari. We have productive people. We have people who are working in all fields, all walks of life. And again, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. This sister, she does consultant work. She's a subject matter expert. She's a team lead. She is specializing in infectious diseases. You know what I mean? So biotechnology, serious thing. We're getting down to the the cellular level and these things, nanotech. We're gonna talk about all of the something that today. We're gonna learn. I'm gonna be a student. So let us have a warm Lion Talk welcome for the mighty Empress Chipo. Give thanks. Royal blessing. Let me unmute the eye if I can. Or do I have to unmute the self there?
Sure. Blessed love, my brother. Blessed love.
Greetings.
Blessed
greetings.
love. Greetings in the name of the Most High, His and Her Majesty, His Imperial Majesty and Empress Menen. I am really honored that you actually took the time to allow this moment so that we can have this ileful, exchange. Yes, very rare do I get the opportunity to breathe on such matters. So I glorify the moment.
Yes, yes. And I'm very excited. So if you see me smiling, just know that it's the joy bursting out. But we have a tradition here on the Lion Talk Live platform. The world knows we're going to ask the eye to step into our Lion Talk time machine to take us to the moment of your birth, the lioness telling her origin story, we want to hear it from the eye.
Okay, I never really looked at it that way, but I'm lioness from creation, Indigay, like we say in Creole, Indigay. So I think, from the time that I became aware of I, I knew that I would be a vehicle, an instrument, and I allow myself to be that instrument, and I know that for positivity, for the goodness of I and I, for I self, Rastafari. I grew up in that type of environment. Um, Contrary to what most people would think, growing up in an environment where excellence is expected, and knowing self and your culture as a tool, and all those fundamental things, they were paramount. So from creation, I grew up in that kind of in that environment. So as a default, as a yeah, from creation.
So
Yeah.
where on the planet were you born?
My neighbor's string is buried is my neighbor's string is buried in Grenada.
In Grenada.
Um,
Okay.
yes, in the southern part of the Caribbean.
The
Um,
spice.
People, yeah, it's very much so. It's a beautiful piece of land, and with everything else in the Caribbean, we have our how should I say, our story as colonial entities. All of us, and I usually tell people, one stop different. One ship different stop. You know, I was born in Grenada. I grew up in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. My parents, business people, and came to the United States about 16 years old. Of course, in an HBCU environment,
Okay.
and um, and came with a purpose because I came from that type of background.
Okay.
Um, and and living in an environment where it's not a colorism environment. There's economic disparity.
Yes.
However, we see one another as who we are, as people, as a culture. However, you know that there's disparities, and 1 minute you can go to sleep as the most loving person there is, and the next minute, because your time came off, or because you're going through your groundation. That's what we would call it. It's called a groundation when you sight up far. Then you became enemy number one of the state.
Wow.
So the whole Black Heart Man that was happening in Jamaica was happening in different terminologies all over, where righteousness was saying, listen, I'm this, I am, I see myself as, an image of creation. I know myself as such. I see that there is a need to stand up and speak for I nation, not just as a movement, but as a people,
Okay.
So all of that became a challenge.
Were you born into a Rastafari family, or did you sight up along the journey?
I was born in a culturally enriched foundation Orthodox family that
Okay.
allowed, that expected the best, um, um, had a very, when you read about Pan-Africanism and Pan-African, like, Touré,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you read Touré, right? And you look and you analyze peoples. I would say I was born into a conscious Pan-African cultured family that
Okay.
was business people for a reason. You never worked for anyone. So that whole bifal concept, that
Yes.
whole self-determination concept, instead
Yes.
of speaking it, you lived it. It was
Yeah.
expected.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I grew up in an environment, even in the microcosm, as you knew yourself, you knew your culture, but you also knew other culture. It was there's a lot of objectivity, growing up in a in a household where you had lots of children that was born in different places. It brings you closer. And the oneness that we did have was um that oneness in Rastafari. So I have 5 brothers and myself.
Okay. Okay. And um, do you remember that moment when you sighted up now His Majesty? Because Pan African, yes, you have Marcus, and you're from the land of Maurice Bishop, so we know
No, no,
Jamaica.
no, 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 no. Let me share a correction. I'm
Okay.
not from the land of Maurice Bishop. My neighbor's string is buried in the same place where Maurice Bishop is buried.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Correct me,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you.
Correct me, please.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So where would you consider your groundation in terms of growing up
It's a weird.
as a young girl?
I grew up in St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So and big up all of my St. Croix family. I visited
Yeah,
St.
we could
Croix.
definitely speak Khuja when you're ready.
I recently went there for the first time, and the amount of love was tremendous. So I have a special place for
Oh
St.
yes, Khujan loves Jamaicans. Yes, they do.
I'm telling you, it's just, and then to see how much Rastafari vibration is there too.
Yeah, it's a liberty. It permeates throughout the society. So the influence. It's one of those. Is one of those. I call it a microcosm of our culture.
Yes,
It's one of those places where you come to, and Rastafari is a liberty because everyone there's an expression of Rastafari in everyone that is there. And I call it in a very grounding form, and it's something that you don't really see in most places,
yes, yes.
but in itself, the space in itself went through its turmoils because we lived through it as Rasta. We
Okay.
saw machine guns being pulled on ones and
Okay.
ones because of their hair.
Wow.
So wherever we go, this is a different talk as Rastafari. People that are walking around now and they say Rasta, the Rasta is not a branded term for I and I. It's not a crown. Just because your father or your mom choose a path, that doesn't mean that you were born into royalty. There's a lot of work to be done, and co-opting is one thing. You're not going to stop it, but like in your show, you have a platform and you choose to use your platform. So whatever platform we get to use, we utilize those platforms so we can bring forth those how should I say, those nuggets that are important based on the situation. So yeah, it's St. Croix in itself. It's when we get a chance, maybe we could reason about Rastafari and the liberty in
Yes,
this place, because you get its truest form, but at the
yes,
same time, you do get all the pushes. You get the back wall, you get
yes,
the maroon tongue, you get the
yes,
bottom belly, and you can't say, "Well, I'm not going to be involved in this," because we don't have the liberty to separate based on mansions.
yes, yes.
That
True.
is, look. When I sit and I talk with my brethren or my sister and we talk, I'm like, listen, we don't have it good. We not could separate. I mean, really, that's a luxury conversation.
Yeah, and that is even lessening. I see that, I see a lot more cross pollination because the realization that we have to come together, the chosen few, to do the work is so magnificent and so magnanimous. You know what I mean? It really requires that coming together to accomplish the work on the scale that's required.
Choose one. Just choose one. So yes, so we and I have chosen to focus on the oneness.
Yes,
We're one people, not on
yes,
a movement, but
yes,
as a nation. And the only way I could look at I and I as a nation, look at I as a nation, because that's where we operate, because we are children. We are children of His and Her Majesty. We are those living ones. And as such, as we echo, we have to and I'm segueing into STEM, if you don't
yes.
mind, right?
No problem. We're,
Segueing into
we're
STEM.
reasoning. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
segueing into STEM. This is where when you reach forward, I was like, no brainer. His Majesty, everything that he did was an investment into science, technology, engineering, and math. Look at the bank. We have a bank account in Ethiopia. Hello, His Majesty opened this up. The first man. Hello. So what are you doing? You look at the University of Addis Ababa. Hello, it's real. It's not in a fantasy book. It's not in National Geographic. It is there. You can attend. Yeah,
Yes,
you know was what I said. So all of these investments, if you're talking about using His and Her Majesty as even as beacons in your path, whether you tried Rastafari or not, I mean, just look at the works and the investment and follow through. In order for us as a nation of ones and one, when I am at home and someone you come to Addis Ababa and you jump on the airplane, they look at you, they say, "Oh, you know where they're sending you? You're going down the King's Highway because they say Shashamani. That's your people,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They're not saying Oromo. They say Shashamani, and that's what they're calling you, Shashamani, not Afa, Shashamani.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so even when you do go home, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to contribute in one of those areas. If we're talking about nation building, if we're not just talking about a movement of a people, if we're talking about really talking about elevating a nation of people, it has to be through science, technology, engineering, and I will add the arts. I am not going to settle because we don't settle. We're taking all of it, all,
Yes.
STEAM, all of it, and math. You know, hello, we just come with the art. Are we this? It come like this. We can't help it. It's
You
natural.
can't help it. It's true.
It is natural. So we glorify, but we
Yes.
come with it.
It's true. We have to talk about this theme. So what was your first memory of the emperor? Like as a child, your first recollection of who is this man? And
It wasn't who, it was more of, and it was more the intrigue, knowing that I was an avid reader.
okay.
And I spend most of my time, even though we had like businesses, I spent most of my time in the library.
Okay.
So most of my connections, I traveled through, like I met Charlie Chaplin in the library.
Wow.
Okay, and here it is. The library is a historic building, and it's on the wharf, and there's ocean. But here's this child stuck in the attic. So I remember getting hooked on National Geographic, and I was really in search of seeing myself, and I booked into, I don't know, something about this book, and it had Ethiopia in there, and it had about kin, and I never really saw ourselves, even though I was in an environment mostly where people was in power positions all my life that looked like me. Outside of my environment, I never knew my world was so grand that there was a real a king or a queen that was of me, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Because you always hear the European sounding their stuff, because we lived in a colonial environment one way or the next, and the whole world have to stop when they flush the toilet, and I was like, so and I was like, whoa. And I was like, I woke up and I said, but wait, you mean A and B and C? All right then. And then it was like, it was more of reality, because it was almost like, you're like living in this, you have this glass and this menagerie, and something is missing and everything connected. You're like, all right then, I have to sit down and rethink this here. And then we always debated in our home or had logical discussions. So it was one of those things. And everything started making a lot of sense. But as a young lady, my directive was education. And that was my marching orders. And so even with that, you knew that, and in our environment, we go through something called, what they call it? It's like you're going through, I forgot, there's a term that they use, but it's like you're going through a time where I forgot the name of it, a humbling period.
Yes.
At different times for humbling, and different things you go through. But anyway, and I was told, listen, you can't, you just have to toe the line, because you have to understand the enemy, know. And so strategies and tactics, you have to understand the enemy, do what you got to do, because you got bigger things to do. So yeah, and I'm here.
And then when was your first awareness of Empress Menen?
At the same time,
Same
I was
time.
an avid reader,
Okay.
and I was pleased. I was very. I'm being practical.
Yes,
I
yes.
was
The balance.
pleased.
The balance.
Yes, because and then when I was about 17, I started studying heavily in Pan Africanism, and
Yes.
um, I I I joined the AAPRP, and
Yes.
so I was doing a lot of work
What's
studying
that acronym for those who are not familiar?
All Africans Revolutionary Party.
Yes, yes. And that's
And
free the land. That's their slogan.
no, 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 no,
That's
no,
not their. Oh, okay,
no, no,
okay.
no,
All
no.
right.
Um, um, and we did a lot of studies. We did a lot of ideological studies um, on different Pan Africanists,
Yes,
from
yes,
Nkrumah to Toure, Shishik Diop. We had a reading list, and we did a lot of study and recruiting,
yes,
and I ran their education program from in the northeastern part of the United States while I was in college. So
okay.
I got the opportunity to really learn, and the approach really is to come to your own understanding of what is. But then you ask yourself, like, what is your role in all of this, And it was very instrumental with my, the way I looked at myself, getting that
Yes,
information going out there, working and nation building. So yeah,
beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
And then when did the love of science? When did you realize as a little girl that you had a love of science?
Um, I was always good at science. And I go back to the story when I was out in the ocean one day in an oceanography class, the only science class that I took in high school. But my eldest brother, he used to just ace his physics class. And we were, and I was like, wow, he was like really, really engineering type. And I wrote very well. I enjoyed writing, but I just took this botany class and we were out in the ocean. I was like, wow, wouldn't it be nice to travel and live a life just doing science out here instead of the lab? And I fell in love with the outdoors, and I was like, how I could get now mind me, I'm like in 12th grade, I'm like, how I could get this here done. I was always that, how can we get this done?
Yeah.
And it was a Muzungu that was the instructor, and he was,
Mhm.
Muzungu hippie, and they coming down in the islands, and and these private school children, and we got into this black sea urchin, and my uncle used to eat the white one, and then he gave me this whole story about the sea urchin. I was in love. I was like a unicellular organism, this big, and I was like, I went goony gaga for science. My interest, I got hooked, and cell biology. I was just very good at understanding that world of all the different phases in life.
Okay,
The cellular level is where I thrive.
okay.
Whether they're monolayers, whether they're, clumps, they're liquids. That's where I live.
Wow, wow, wow. We love
Yeah.
it. We love
Yes.
it. And um, you chose, or why did you choose biotechnology? There's so many routes you can go into science. Well, first of all, explain what is biotechnology, and then tell us why did you choose biotechnology?
I don't. I think I came into that field. I think by definition, by process of elimination, um, um, uh, the pressures around you when they look at you. The stereotype is, wow, your brain is bright. You need to be a doctor. Okay,
Yes.
doctor. Da, 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 da. Okay, great. So Like, well, I can debate very well. I very enjoy writing very well. I love my arts. Can excel there, but I truly wanted to be put myself where I can be effective for my nation. Okay, granted, I just wanted to be effective, and so I really didn't like the Western medical field at all.
Okay.
I didn't have any respect for it. It was going against my culture and my moral grain. Pharmaceutical pushing, though pushing is not something that I condone. I understand it, and science helped me to understand it. Understanding technology helps you to understand it, but understanding the technology, you have the choice. So I found my power, I found my being, I found my satisfaction, I found my effectiveness in being part of the solution, in being part of opening up and sharing the mysteries or the misnomers or the unknowns about something, and allowing the person with due respect make their decision, not judging, but allowing them to make the decision. And I choose maybe technologies where life is involved. Because why? Yeah, I care about people. Yeah, and I could use it with you, my brother, whether it's whole cells, whether it's a hematology instrument, whether it's RSV detection or HIV or whatever the case may be. I'm part of the solution, but I'm not going to dictate to you. And take it another step further. How can we take that technology that we have harnessed in my brain, because I am in the belly of the beast, and how can I use it to benefit my people? And so for the past 15 years, I've focused on using technology like flow cytometry, um, and applied technologies, infectious diseases like RSV, flu A, flu B, breast cancer, those kind of things, monoclonal antibody detection, complex medicine, and make it applicable to our people in resource challenged areas, in places that got hit by Marissa, in places that got flooded out the other day. You understand what I'm saying? So that's where my feed forward has been, and education, because I'm not going to be around forever. So partnering, educating, sharing, yeah, because I'm not going to be here. I got
Yes,
other things to do.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. So, how would you explain biotechnology to a 5-year-old? To someone, if they ask you what is biotechnology, what do you do? How would you explain it?
A biotechnologist is that person that can look at a technology, quickly understands it because is in their field, break it down in its finest points, reproduce it is viable, and apply a technology to it such that it's meaningful to the person. So
Okay.
I would say something like 2-year-old, Akil, auntie, auntie used the information and she puts it in this strip right here so that when you just let a little bit of spit go right there, then auntie would know whether you have the cold or not.
Okay.
That's what auntie does. She provides a
Okay.
solution.
Okay. Okay. We love it. So, would things like CRISPR and cell editing be within the biotechnology field?
It is. CRISPR is a tool.
Yes.
But
Yes.
CRISPR is out there. It's not necessarily, is a tool. So you can use a tool like a gun, or you can use it any which way. What we have found that since the human genome has been, they say codified, everything is going towards, using CRISPR to multiply or to rapidly, make these strands of proteins, which would take, it cuts down on time. It's AI is capturing information. The more you use it, the more efficient it's going to be. It's technology. They're learning it as it goes.
Why? And for those who don't know, CRISPR is a technology, as the sisters say, where they can go into the cell, they can edit at the DNA level, modify, and there's all type of applications people talking about. You can change the color of your baby eyes. You can, there's all type of debates in terms of the ethics of genetic editing. In the spiritual context, some people say that these were the technologies that were used in the days of Noah, what I mean, when they were tampering with all type of abomination, and that they, when you read the Sumerian texts about the Anunnaki modifying people, and now we come into the age now where we see man has the ability to do these things once again, and how does the eye feel in terms of the ethical or the spiritual application? Because obviously, experiments are being done at all levels. Governments are doing things with this genetic editing. How do you feel in terms of someone, who has that knowledge at a high level? Because this sister, she does consulting work, is high level things she did with it. So I just want the people know. But how does the eye look at that side of it, from the ethics point of view and spiritually?
That gun is loaded. I don't bring my spirituality into that ballroom at all. It's separate. I compartmentalize. My they will always in your universe, wherever you work, professionally or otherwise, there will always be things that don't work. I stay within my lane. So I have in the past worked in environments where there have been human trials. Those things in the United States, according to the Food and Drug Administration, is not allowed, or it's limited, it's heavily regulated. I've never worked with human subjects for in my past, like rodents, rats, mice, sheeps. So how do I feel about genetic manipulation? The technology is there. I think it's a personal decision. The technology is there. Whether you want to believe it or not is not a judgment. It's for that person to make that decision. And there's a cost involved. There's a cost involved if you're willing to pay the price. And people are doing it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So whether you do it, on a genetic level, or you go to Sonobello to get a BBNL, or you go to get XYZ, and you look like a camel. Are you that? It's just a different process. Hello? Hello. Let's get real. It's not the process, it's the ideology. And that we always displace. We say, oh, if they didn't tell me, oh, but this one was, no, it's the same thing. It's the ideology. Pan-Africanism is the ideology. You don't have to be in Africa to support STEM. It's your ideology. You don't have to buy a piece of land in Ghana. You could be right here in Australia, wherever, and support Africa. Other peoples do it, and they get respect.
Yes,
Let's get real. Let's get real. And so as long as we continue moving as a movement, Rastafari movement, and I cringe when I hear my elder brothers and say, well, and I'm like, I ain't moving. Movement of Huja people. I'm a nation. Who do you? I go King Mansa Musa. That's where we there. That's where we there. We're not into plantation slavery. We're not into that definition. We have bigger fish to fry. STEM. We need people that is going to come in here and be engineers. As long as we move forward, whether we're home, we send money to Jamaica for development. If we don't send in the technology, the younger ones that knows how to sustain and invest in them, we're going to always be slaves to the place.
Yes, I.
I don't care how much Georgie bundle you move with.
Hmm.
You can move with your Georgie bundle, but then you end up, Mr. Joe gonna be your lawyer, Susie, Miss Suzanne gonna be your engineer. You gonna outsource everything, so everything you make going out of your community. It has
Yes.
to be sustainable. We need steam,
Yes. Talk it.
steam.
Talk
We
it.
need steam, and then that will help us to build a sustainable nation.
Talk about it. So critical because we cannot burn Babylon and we have not built an alternative
You ain't got
to
nothing.
Babylon. You
You
see?
only got talk.
You see?
That's
So,
why people treat you the way they treat you.
hmm,
Yeah.
serious, very serious. Um, in terms of the building of Zion, because to be fair, there are so many applications, even with genetic modification, because you have people born with defects, you know what I mean, and their quality of life is compromised. And we're also coming into the era where some of these things can be corrected as well. So it's not, as the sister says, some of these things are all tools, you know. So how you use the tool determines the applicability of the tool. It's not to say that the tool in and of itself is evil, you know. It's how it's applied. So and you know, when we read prophetically, Jah shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, there shall be no more pain. We went through Revelation 21 on the last our Saturday episode in terms of the vision of Zion on earth. And we're seeing that science, you know, when we look at science and some of the solutions that it provides to some age old problems, we have to, and this was, you know, when you look at read the speeches of His Majesty, this was how His Majesty approached the sciences. You know what I mean? That now we have the opportunity as humanity, if we stop investing in war, to actually now create the solutions to the problems like cholera, which you know the rat disease right now that is plaguing Jamaica. I can't remember the name of the disease, spinal or something like that. That's do I know what I'm talking about?
It's an infectious disease that's caused by rats.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's taking Jamaica right now because of all of the rodents now displaced from their burrows, and then now there's all the dead people, dead animals everywhere. So there's an explosion of these rats, and they're carrying infectious diseases. So the sister now we see that this is a time when we need, you know, 20,000 of the system because we need our biotechnologists to solve some of these problems. But in terms of application, you know, that's one. What are some of the ways why a biotechnologist is important for us as Rastafari as we move into this new era?
Oh wow. That's a very good question. It plays right into the same thing that we were talking about previously. So application. You were building a nation. We're no longer walking. You know, I wrote this statement down. It says, you know, as a biotechnologist, you have all of this science that you discover. So you have a child. I'm just going to play, for example, rudimentary. So a
Yes.
child gets a kit and does and has this wow experiment, and they go into school. And they go into school, and then let's say they study botany. Okay, great. They go into botany and they do research. They extract something, they find something unique, they file it down. That just prepares them so they could document that information.
Yes.
In biotechnology, you take the extract, and we actually re-engineer what's done, set it up so that it's viable, package so it can be viable, expand it in place. I mean, by the time we're done with it, you have it in so many different meat, and it's sustainable, and it's actually, you make it such that it actually is applicable to a need. Other
Okay.
than that, it's just something on a page.
Yes. So solutions. It
Of
provides
course,
solutions to some of the age-old
of
problems
course, of course.
that we have. And again, as the sister said, we don't want to find ourselves outsourcing to other communities these things, and we want to also have ownership. Sovereignty mean ownership over your destiny and decision making power. So we want to be able to hire our children as interns, to have them shadow us at our place of work so that they can get interest in the STEAM fields and they can get practical experience. And that requires us to have a different vision. We're moving from the survival phase of, and I on this platform always make clear that we have to give the elders nothing but accolades because they survived the brutality. You know what I mean? They established a global foundation for I and I, that anywhere I and I trod, you know what I mean, as Rastafari, brethren and sister, the love that we feel is ones who trod that rocky road, And so we know the generations that follow have a duty to build the institutions on the foundation set by the elders. We're not supposed to follow their footsteps in the sense of where everybody go up in the hills and build a tattoo and a yaba pot and we a bubble coconut milk, and that is part of it, and we give thanks for that part too. You know what I mean? But not everyone. Some we need some to go and build the science lab, you know what I mean, with the big telescope and the big Bunsen burner and the this and the that, and do the experiments that I and I can have the new technologies and be on the forefront, you know what I mean. All right, so
You know,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add, you're hitting it right on the head. So the question is, what can you do right now?
Yes,
So
yes.
what is it that you could do within your household? Okay, on a personal level, I've always included from the time my youths were small. In the summertime, they have a science project. They know that science is not medicine. You look at different fields of science. Maybe you're 2 years old and you want to look at maybe color changing. You know what I'm saying? So we design an experiment. So by the time, always have them, whatever their interest is, they're involved. That's the role of the parent. They're inquisitive, be there for them, show an interest, spend the time with them, look for organization. If you are in the private industry, create that environment. Go to the schools, like you mentioned. Back in the day, a mother would take their child down to a place and say, him need, you know what I'm saying? And then you learn mentorship. So you mentor a child. That child incentive may be getting a school credit. You get hours, labor as a private industry, and you can write it off your taxes. What can we do, in coordination? Well, I've already looked at it. We need to facilitate a space where we can support as Rastafari, highlight those projects that we share in our community centers around STEAM. We should institutionalize STEAM back in Rastafari and Rastafari communities. I mean, you say that we made like pyramids, right? If you read Sheikh Anti Diop, he in line, right? So Awatagwan, Awatagwan. How come we acting like we so dunce?
It's a mindset, the shift. We're waiting on the Rasta Jesus to come from the sky. Some people, you know what I mean, and is I and I have to save I and I. Is no one coming to save I and I. You know what I mean? So we have to create those economic foundation that can allow us to fund the school so the teachers can get paid and they can have a nice life just like everyone else, and our youths can get the benefit of this STEAM education, Rastafari curriculum. We have to do that, you know what I mean? So we're calling on the global family to not just see these things and feel nostalgic and thing, but to act, you know what I mean? The chosen few in your neighborhood, in your area, have these reasonings, you know what I mean? Put together, you can start with a Saturday school, you know what I mean? Where you bring the youths in on a Saturday and you have them together and do some science activities, get them bridge building. Big up Ras Culture. We had one of our Naya Bingi brethren who's a civil engineer. I know he used to volunteer with the Howard University bridge making team, and they make bridge out of popsicle sticks and have big competitions and things like that. So things like that you can do with the youths them and get them interested, and Lego and certain things and there's so many things.
Agricultural projects and things like that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes.
So what how old were you the first time when you went to Africa?
Oh wow. The first time I placed my foot, I must have been like 20.
Okay, and what country was the first?
I landed in Cape Town.
Okay, okay. What was there a culture shock? What was the vibration? How were you feeling?
Living among African people, knowing that I'm an African person, I wasn't culture shocked because I'm an African person. I think, I am an African human being. So what I was taken back by the cleanliness of Cape Town versus the United States. I was really taken back by how wide the the highways were, you know, um, the cleanliness really. Um, yeah, that's what really got me. The
Okay,
socialization is something totally different.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
And were you interacting with the Rastafari community at that time, or was it just a general try to?
Well, through the AAPRP, we interacted with every Africans all over the world.
Okay,
So, before I was doing work on behalf of Africa before I even put my foot in Africa. I was
okay,
fighting more for Ghana before I even put my foot in Ghana. So
okay.
I am one of those. But we had people in South Africa. We had people in Azania. We call it
Yes,
Azania.
lasagna. Yes.
Yeah, Azania. So we had people in Azania. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And how long was your first journey, and then where did you go after that?
Lord Grandpapa, you expect me to remember all of that there? Okay, so let me say, how long was my journey? That was a time when I was living at home for the longest. I can't
Okay,
remember how long, but I started in South Africa, and me and my sister, and we went up. We were living in Kenya for a moment,
okay,
together
okay.
in Nairobi, and we were doing business. We were setting up we're doing our
Wow,
stuff. So we lived in Nairobi. We traversed Masai land.
wow.
Tanzania, lived through Tanzania, Masai Mara. So yeah, I was at home. Or maybe I home. Next, I mean, I home. Drive
Yes,
to
yes,
Ethiopia,
yes.
but I home. I'm home. I'm an African person.
Give
Rastafari is
thanks.
my tribe.
Okay, give thanks, give thanks. So, what's the contrast? Between being on the continent for those, because we still have many Rastafari in the West who have never stepped foot at home.
At home.
What is the contrast? How would you describe that to one of your brethren and sisters here who has never had the opportunity to touch their feet on the continent?
Well, it all depends on the person, right? And because I know that if the person is enamored, I always try to let them know that home is large. It's home. That's your mother. So the first thing you need to know is that your mother awaits you whenever you're ready, and it's not compulsory. But if you were taken from your mom and your auntie them waiting for you, I think it's common sense that you should go check them, right? Let's make it simple.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
then if you put on the spiritual realm, then we're getting more serious. And then if you put it on the practical sense, you're like, listen, nobody home. Maybe that's why he ain't coming. Maybe he needs to stay here in the belly of the beast. But
Okay.
in any event, um, I usually try to let them know the contrast. You know, in the north is dusty, it's like this is very paternal, and that's anybody, because you're a person, that's anybody. In the west is like this, you have to know French, what language do you speak. You know, in the west you could get away with speaking Spanish, or maybe if you go in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, you're speaking Spanish. But other than that, you cannot be speaking French and say you're going to Ethiopia. It's not going to help you, you know. Depending on what you're looking for. If you want some place that is the Caribbean, you go to Tanzania. If you want some place like Florida, you go to Cape Town. You close your eyes to the isms and schisms of the that is happening in Azania, and you kiba and you move through. Because you ain't going to change anything right about now. You know, so you have to know how to move strategically, like Sekou Touré says, like an African. You have to move strategically, whether you're in Kingston, you're in Waterhouse, you're in Frederickstead, you're in Wadada. You have to know how to move as an African. We do not minimize ourselves as Rasta people. Everywhere you and I go, they don't ask us where our neighbor's string is, you know. When they see you, they see far eye. And when they see I, they see far eye. And we have no other responsibility than to keep it up on a level. They can involve in every. We don't have the liberty because we chose that. We took our Nazarene vow, and everything that we do is nation building for far eye.
It's so true. It's so true. The expectation.
The expectation is yasa.
Yes, and that is also our protection, because you know that provides us the opportunity to go through any garrison, any ghetto, also trot through any high society. You know, we have that liberty of movement where it's rare. You know, if you're really living up in the liberty, you can go to the highest of the high society and you're the star. You can go to the lowest of the dongle and you're the star. You know what I mean? Because people respect the legacy of what Rastafari represent, the excellence. You know what I mean? But we cannot throw that away or give that away because we want to fit in. And you know, a lot of our young people right now are trying to fit in. And part of it is, you know, we can't blame the youth. We have not built enough for them, you know. So I'm very careful not to blame our young people. And you know, on my program, on this platform, I define Rastafari youth as 0 to 20 years old, and I call 20 to 40 are young adults, 40 to 60 are mature adults, over 60 elder, and over 80s are Asian. Now, some people say, you know, we need to go to 25 for youths and thing. It's either here nor there, but I just want us, you know, because I came into the Liberty, we only had youth and elder, you know what I mean? And I'm saying we need our adults to really take the reins and take responsibility for the government right now, our productive people. So I'm very big on that. And what I see right now is that we lack institutions. So we have strong personalities, but if that person passes, then there's a void because we haven't built the institutional framework so that things just run. It don't depend on personality. The other thing is that we don't have full-time, you know, the buzzwords. My audience would know, what are my buzzwords? Put them in the chat. Those who know the buzzwords of this platform, put them in the chat. Let me see if they are them pay attention. I have 2 words that I emphasize on this platform. They are them. Put them in the chat. Let me see if they are them pay attention. In the meantime, I also want to ask the eye, because I was introduced the eye by our good sister and sister Cheryl Murray Powell, who has been on the platform. Big up all the EWF, all the local 12 family. I was introduced to the sister. You see, look at my audience. You see the 2 words, budget and staff. I say if we're in any reasoning right now, we need to be talking about budget and staff. If we're not talking about that, we're not serious about sustainability of what we're dealing with. You know what I mean? This volunteer Ethiopia, we take it too far. You know what I mean? Everything can every, everything can be volunteer. Everything can be volunteer. You know what I mean? But what I was gonna ask there I was in South Florida for the coronation. Talk to us about the event. You know what took place for the coronation and the eyes impression of it.
Wow. Give thanks again. So my view is one of I was part of the working team
Okay.
along along with some dedicated angels um, that work in feverishly to we got a call through our priestly order. Um, this is what we're going to do, and we were going to host the EABIC was in a position to host the 95th coronation
Give that.
celebration, and as such, the call was a simple one. Once you get the call, you know how to move, and this is Rastafari at play. What happened? What ones and ones experience at the 95th coronation is how Rastafari collectively operates with a oneness. So the call was made. It's a oneness, and that's Farah. It's a oneness. So we held on to that. It's a oneness, and we called every one of mansion or houses, whichever term you want to use. In our father's house, there are many mansions, and so or many houses in that mansion, and so we called off on everyone, and everyone responded favorably. Adjunct and Hopton. Um, and even the EWF, who is an organization that has a 501(c)(4) that His Majesty created to garner funds for the war effort. They were called in and they came, and so um, it was challenging, but we really had a oneness in Farai. We believed in our ideology as Farai. Our work ethics demonstrated it. We had accountability, transparency. We balanced each other out, and supported one another, and just great group of sistren, so and brethren to work with. So when ones and ones talk about well, we can't do this and we can't do that, and I hosted at least 14 of our coronation in prior years. We had a very strong Rastafari from community in South Florida, and our coronation banquet was held at Florida Memorial College.
Okay.
So I mean, it was something that we've done. We've had weddings, so we have that kind of camaraderie. People have gotten older and people have grown. So now this was an opportunity for the youths to come in, and we set the stage. The mansions were there, and we tried to facilitate and let them do their due. Um, the way it was laid out and the intentionality behind this was a oneness. And without saying anything, I would have to say we had youths leading. They had their own DJ run-ins. You know, they were magical. I just love them. We had security. Um, it was just listen, it was, you had to be there to experience it. So we had a kwaba on Friday evening. Sabbath
Yes.
came in, and those of us in AABIC, we hold our Sabbath. You know, we keep it down, and it was really awesome because this was the first time in my life, well, in South Florida, being together with all of I at the same time for 3 days. And then there's ones that keep a Sabbath a certain way and ones that really don't a certain way. But everyone was just a oneness. It was just a oneness. And it reminded me of growing up in St. Croix, being in Grenada, being in the smaller microcosms where we don't have them liberty because all
Yes.
of these cousin, and you can't say that you ain't going because all of these cousin. It's a
Yes.
oneness. So you're in this situation in Jamaica is larger. Well, he's this and he's that and that is that, and we understand the history behind it. But we
Yes.
but we rally around the oneness. So that is what you felt. The reverends, the priests led it. Um, I think one of the this brethren, we had a recap meeting, and he said it. He said it was a very. He said, I just need to say this. He said, I have never been to a sabbatical service.
Hmm.
And it was so nice. Everyone that came in and they didn't know, we know how to behave. So you help and you share. And the way that it's done is just, and he talked about it. I never expect him to talk about it, but he talked about it. He said, I've never been, and I was curious, and I came from West Palm Beach, and they had to take off their time, and he said it just blew him. And this man had to be about 60, 70. So it was that kind of exchange. And then
Yes.
within the sabbatical service, you have everyone, what is it, 12 tribe, Bingi, Bobo, Orthodox, everyone is there. And there you have your priest and the altar, and everyone it was beautiful. It reminded me of being in Ethiopia on Easter morning. It was
Yes.
that reverent.
Wow. Wow.
And then we had our panel discussions, and we had them by gender.
Okay.
We had the empresses together, and we reasoned, and it was lively and engaging. We had
Beautiful.
all different ages. We don't get a chance to reason among each other.
Beautiful.
And we use that strategy because we need to foster them kind of reasoning. And the races and the youths, they had their own nature interaction. But on Sunday was a coronation. Oh, we had the fire lighting on Saturday night. And the youth got an education as to the Nyabingi reasoning and the history behind the fire lighting.
Okay.
And one of the youths that from our nation talked about it, how enriching it was. And this elder just sat there and they were at the pit and they were just reasoning about the fire lighting and the importance. Now, if that person had sit down in front of a television, they would have not gotten that piece of information. And it wasn't just one, it was all of them, you know? And Bingy kept rocking all night. And then Sunday we had our coronation Geber. And Dr. Desta, she came from Ethiopia. My sister, I love her. And she came through and
Mama Desta, big up.
that's my sister in life. And so she came, she spoke, and families from near and far came. And yeah, we had the children showcased, and we look forward to growing. I think the big take home, um, we met together, of course, Rastafari. So of course, there was everything was executed in a royal manner. Everyone came in a royal manner, and the whole weekend was executed in a spiritually enriching and royal manner.
Wow. Give thanks. And it's important that we speak of these things because, again, we want to counter the narrative that Rastafari is not doing anything. There is a iris that is growing in the grassroots of the movement, that renewal, that recognition that we have to put down the petty differences. The workers are coming together. That to me is the most significant development, you know what I mean? Because we had so many years where we allowed the naysayers to stifle the forward movements. People lick down everything, and those people now have been revealed to have no alternative. They have not presented an alternative. And so the workers are now coming together to do the work that always had to be done, but now it's being done. So that's one of the things I really want to get across with this platform. And that is why it's so important, because I heard all of the great reviews about the event. I said I have to get I, as one of the organizers, to come and tell the people, because people would think I'm biased, I just love run my mouth. I'm long-winded, you can see I'm very long-winded. So I love to get the first-hand witness. The sister was there, organized. She can tell them the good news of the Inity and the power that is surging. And in terms of and I'm glad to hear that young people were there, because a lot of the events in recent, that's been my critique from some of our events in the last few years, is where are the young people, So I'm so happy. In terms of moving forward, what does the IC in terms of our next steps as Immunity? A long time there has been on the battlefield. What would the I like to see?
In terms of the coronation banquet?
We can start there and then let's go wider in terms of just Rastafari.
Well, one of the things that I omitted, and I wanted to share with everyone.
Yes.
The timing of that banquet was, and I'm going to use the European word, it was serendipitous.
Okay.
In such that, Marissa, that hurricane happened. So a lot of ones that had planned on coming, they got caught up in that milieu. And as such, their schedule had to move around. However, we were honored because Ras Ivi was able to, he left and he was supposed to be on a journey somewhere else with the rest of his crew, spreading the Nyabingi vibe on a tour. And so they were able to come out prior to that storm, and they ended up they were coming to the session, and they did reach. So that added a piece of added spice.
Yes.
And we closed off the whole session with that. And the question is, what's next?
Yes.
Great segue. At that time, individuals was like, listen, we want to help with this situation. And since they were traveling back to Jamaica, and some of them had word that's who had their situation, that was a springboard to immediately a task force was formed using some of the infrastructure that we had already established to address that immediate need or concern for Rastafari on the island. So I just wanted to highlight that. What's next for I and I? We've always worked as a community, and we look forward. We talked about it. We are moving forward. One of the things that we're looking at is what elements do we add to the venue, and how can we change certain things. And we've always looked at that, to try to augment. It's always the vibe. It's always about our family, straight up, So how can we enhance? And so I'm glad that you talked about STEM.
Yes.
Yes, because other than maybe having, not maybe, but we talked about really institutionalizing a scholarship.
Okay.
We have done it in other events. We've talked about it, but we institutionalize it here. A scholarship, we want to institutionalize a STEM program. So for students that's involved already, maybe we can have a project there or something involved in that where we can highlight and encourage and incentivize the ones that, while we have a captive audience, we can incentivize them while they're there.
I love it. Because my daughter, I'm going through the college application process right now. My daughter is applying for scholarships, and she has to write essays every day, and she's applying for every scholarship out there. And it would be good to know that there's a Rastafari scholarship that she and other Rastafari youths could apply for, specific for Rastafari youth. Because my daughter is interested in nursing.
Yeah.
She's going to go into the sciences, you know what I mean? So it'd be good to know that there are opportunities for our youths them to apply for scholarships. And these are ways that we can work together, because some of these scholarships are $1,000, $2,000, so it don't have to be no massive amount. I know
Listen, it could if you went to a university in the United States, any dollar amount works. It could go for a book. It could go for
yes, exactly.
and yeah, poor hungry student, PhDs. Yes. I
Exactly.
hold that title very well. So yes,
Yes.
every little penny helps. And and I know that within the South Florida community, we have as empresses, as daughters, sisters, talked about institutionalizing and investing in education in that realm. And we looked at that. I know it's going to come to a reality, but we looked also and had discussions about students that were outside of that system, but we still want a nation build and lift up. So here comes the private sector. Here comes the private sector. So when someone is interested in XYZ, we partner with that private sector, and
Yes.
they go in and they get mentorship, and then we incentivize them, whether we find out what the need is, whether it's what the need is, and address it. And of course the entity gets that benefit. So yes,
Well,
nation conscious, nation building, not talking about it,
yes.
actually going out there and doing it. And when people say, well, we're waiting on an organization, I point to this. The Kikuyu people in Kenya, when the Germans came in to take their blood and wipe all of East Africa with it, they didn't cry that when the Germans said no schools for you, no school for your children. They waited until the Germans were asleep at night and they had school downstairs in their basement. So most Kikuyu homes have a downstairs.
Hmm.
And that's where they educated their children. So we have no excuse if you're really serious about it.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. It's so powerful. And I want the eye to know that this platform is available when if the IDM establish a scholarship, we will help to push out the sound. If it requires ones to help to fund it, we will push out the sound. This is one of the reasons that I built this platform, is so that we could have an audience to support some of these initiatives. This is one of the roles that I deem is critical for having a robust media within Rastafari, so that we can centralize these efforts and we can magnify and amplify these type of efforts. So when the eye is ready with that scholarship, let I know we'll push it out there. Any other works that are happening, I want the eye to know that this is home for the eye. This is the eye platform. If there's any event, we are here as Rastafari independent, non-aligned media to be that connecting link, so that the community knows that we have options, and we are not alone. That is the key. We are not alone. There are like minds out there that want to see the work done. Talking is good, it's necessary, but it cannot be all that's going on. We have to put the capital together. I'm going to go through just a few comments here. If you have any questions for our guests, please put them in the comment section. We have a biotechnologist tonight, first ever on the Lion Voice Network. We're talking about STEAM family: science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. We're talking about the building of Zion on earth. What is our divine mission? It must be to create and elevate humanity. Ras Roots, big up yourself. Blessed love, Lion Pride, give thanks. Ras Roots checking in. Strikings highly high. Haile Selassie the first. Bless up yourself, King. Um, Norma Clark. Oh, that's my mother. Give thanks. Good work. Stay blessed. Yes, mommy. Give thanks. Welcome, Empress Chipo. Yes, Ras Roots. Big up our elder Johnny Johnson, Reverend Johnny Johnson from El Paso, Juarez, Mexico, tuning in. And remember, family, I have the jackets our elder donated. We're gonna have a giveaway, Lion of Judah jacket. We're gonna do a giveaway. Our elder Johnny Johnson has donated them to the platform. So big up yourself, our elder. Any black scientist or anyone, I will ask them to look into the Peony Wally, aka Firefly, aka Blinkers, but our ATP, aka adenosine triphosphates, bioluminescence, mitochondrial DNA, human biology, battery. Johnny Johnson is also a medical doctor, so he's also a STEM. He's a retired medical doctor. Big up yourself, Johnny Johnson, and also Orthodox ordained priest. So big up yourself. I've been studying Peony Wally for 40 years after Rastaman told me they were from outer space in 1975. Jaja. Johnny Johnson full of talk to you. Give thanks. Aye. Seawater is a natural. Dennis, I don't know what the eye is saying about the seawater. Seawater is a natural. Seawater H2O is a natural. Fensic, the bird flu will be next. The next pandemic. All right, I'm gonna watch it. Black peoples have both historically and traditionally been able to use electron microscopes by design. And that's another thing we need to invest. We should have our own electron microscopes. That was one of my favorite things in science class when they show you the images from the electron microscope and it looked like another universe. You know what I mean? When you see on that level. STEM is a Western capitalistic education agenda for workforce development. They are removing humanities and arts from their education system. Okay. Let me see how I pronounce their name. Naku Pendra. Big up yourself. Give thanks. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network. Transhumanist agenda equals biowarfare, nanobots, gene editing, etc., which raises the proverbial question: what does it mean to be human? How would I answer that question? What does it mean to be human?
I would like to address the first question
Okay.
that was written.
Yeah.
When our family noted about STEM, I
Yeah.
totally agree with her, and that's why we made or him our family member.
Yes.
You have to put arts in
Yes.
with this thing. I mean, it balances out everything. It is what glues everything together. So short story, I'm an artist also, and that has been my balance in science. So
Okay.
yes, I'm nerdy, but at the same time, my arts help me to be a lot more forgiving to myself,
Yes.
and my science helps me to be a lot more disciplined with my artsy self. I know when to stop.
What type of art does the eye produce?
I have been a dancer. I've had dance companies.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taught children dance, traditional African dance. And
Okay.
even with that, because of who I am as
Yes.
a Rastafari African woman, we hold it pan a level. So traditional African dance.
Yes. Beautiful. And then what do you think about the Brethren Sound transhumanistic agenda, biowarfare, nanobots, gene editing, etc., which raises the proverbial question: what does it mean to be human?
I mean, like, what is the question? That's just someone. I mean, like, we would have to have a further discussion about that. The question is, what does it mean to be human? That's going to take some time to answer that question. And I don't think I don't think you have enough time tonight. We could get
Yes,
into
yes. It's very
it will take us into a rabbit hole, and I
yes,
don't think that's why we're here tonight. But
yes.
can have that discussion, but I don't think you want to.
Yes, existentialism was supposed to be a bridge between classical metaphysics with the phenomenology and the hard sciences, but Darwinism created modern racism via natural science and social Darwinism. Yeah, get deep tonight.
So I've looked. Yeah. I have gone into those realms, but
Yes,
again, what is the question?
I think he's just
Existentialism, yes, but what
yes.
is the question?
Let me see what else the brethren is saying or sistering. Traditional liberal arts and science was intended for character building, for human flourishing above hyper utilitarianism. What is a good?
What is a good what?
Traditional L, A, and S began with trivialism, what? Trivium, grammar input, logic processing, and rhetoric output. They have removed logic and call it language arts. No wonder the people not think again. Okay. Look like him just have free up him Irish.
Yeah, and have made some points.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He said, how about we just teach the youth them science without using the capitalistic term STEM? And I want to address that. You know, I purposely use STEM and not STEAM to kind of hammer the point because most races are arts people. You know, most races have some type of artistic, so I didn't, but it really should be included as STEAM. I wanted to emphasize because when you first hear Rastafari, the average person out there doesn't think about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You know what I mean? They think about reggae artists, burning a spliff. We have to be honest. So I've been very intentional about calling the series Rastafari and STEM just so people.
It's interesting that you say that.
Yes.
Certain environments,
Yes.
yes. In certain environments, no.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is something I think we need to all start looking at because yeah, I just have to say that. In certain environments, yes, but in certain environments, no.
So what explain when you say certain environments?
For example, like the world, when the world sees in America, when the world sees me and I consider myself just a person, but they look at me and like, oh, she's Jamaican. I say nothing. My color of my skin, I say nothing. The color of my skin is like my sister right next to me who has a different wig on her head. You know, I say nothing. But when they see me, by the way you carry yourself,
Yes.
they expect a different output from you.
Okay.
And when you live in an environment where everyone around you look like you, but not everyone around you is Rastafari.
Yes.
Or everyone around you is not orthodox, but they're cultured.
Yes.
It has a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying to you?
So they're expecting a level of excellence from the eye.
Because once you choose to go this stride, you better keep your pants up. And it's not and it's not, yeah. So it's different. And so when you go into other environments, that whole, well, I'm dreaded and dread is sometimes I kind of wonder if maybe we just take it to a level and it was great for them, so therefore they enjoy it. You see the difference.
Yes.
So they can marginalize and weaponize that.
Yes.
But in certain environments, even if you're a dum-dum, they would expect you to be.
Or else, how did you get here? That's what they're saying too. You know, looking like that.
Because you have grandmothers and you have people around you that
yes.
are have that, yeah.
And I've experienced some of that because, you know, being in some of the spaces where you're the only person, you know, with a turban, or you're the person with the red, gold, and green, because you represent that lifestyle, and they know who you are. But the sister is right; they do expect a level of excellence from you, or else why are you there amongst them, you know?
Exactly.
Yes, yes. So
Yes.
that is a reality, you know. We have Nija Bingi. I am a high school visual arts teacher here in the States. Big up my sister and welcome to the Lion Voice Network. We love our educators to our heart on the front lines with our young people. Lepros, that is the rat disease I was trying to remember. Leptospirosis following Hurricane Melissa
And Marburg.
from Marburg in Ethiopia.
Marburg,
Okay.
yeah.
So obviously this person is very knowledgeable. The point was about if you edit the genes, impacts human nature. Um, is there a relationship between your genetic code and your nature as a human being?
Yeah. When you say nature, are you asking me that question?
Yes, yes. In terms
Yeah,
of
they should be, because everything about your being is in your genetic
code.
codes.
Yes, yes. Serious. And the fact that we're having this conversation and this time just shows you how advanced we are within our timeline. I was telling my son the other day, um, you know, he's on his tablet. I was saying when I was your age, that was science fiction. We used to look at that on Star Trek. You know what I mean? There was not near tablet where you see your friend FaceTime and you're swiping and doing that. Was science fiction. That wasn't real.
No, Mr. Spock had one of those tablets.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That was not existing. You know what I mean? We had phone where you had to dial around and everybody pick up on the house and everybody on one line and these things. So science has advanced so rapidly in our generation. We're talking about editing genes and changing characteristics and the nature of humanity. And wow, um, it's amazing times. I met the Empress in Miami last year at the coronation celebration. Okay, blessing Niger Bingy. So you're in South Florida. Big up yourself. All our South Florida um, X-Men is about gene editing. The mutant gene is a lot about genetics, for real. I'm a comic book nerd too. I know where you're going with it. I know where you're going with it. But it's real. These things are in the comics, but also if you study the ancient Sumerians, which were Kushite, the empire of Kush, and you read about the Anunnaki and those things, they talk about, you know, um, beings coming from the heavens that modified the lower hominids into human beings. You know what I mean? So these are ancient concepts. These are not new concepts, and these are the things that we have to overstand as African people. That African people have been, knowing about the ability to change human form from before the written record. You know what I mean? And you see on the hieroglyphs, and you see in the rock paintings and the different arts how we, the different type of creatures and beings. At one time you'd have said, boy, them people, they must be drunk. But now we see no, mankind can create all kind of something. So there's nothing new under the sun. So it really makes us have to humble ourselves and overstand the power, and why we say that divinity is within us, because we do have that power to create different things. How does the I feel about AI right now, and
Oh
where
wow.
AI is going?
Oh wow. Technology again, and the
Yes.
application of technology. Um on a on a level, it's always been here, the aggregation of information. We've been doing it for the longest time. However, now it's becoming commercial, and there's good uses, but I'm very, very concerned. Just like um, I'm concerned about the use of it in terms of the range of use, because it's like
Yes.
um um Pandora's box, the genie's
Yes.
out of the bag.
Yes.
Similarly,
Yes.
and I think it definitely will alter our social behavior if it
Yes.
hasn't already.
Yes.
Similarly to when we had the cordless phone. So you
Yes.
had the phone, but now it's cordless. So now it affected your mobility, your social interaction. And
Yes.
now children that are now 17, 18, 19 in those bells, you can see that their social health is very, very different than
Yes.
their previous generation,
Definitely.
significantly. Their
Yes.
coping skills,
Yes.
just social interaction it's deficient.
Yes.
So as where I am, I'm thinking, okay, well, the other generation now with AI, they come in, it removes it removes problem solving skills from human beings. That's
Yeah.
one of my biggest thing. I mean, I utilize aggregates and technology, but I'm saying if someone is sitting there and all they need to do is just put a question in, there's no thinking, there's no connection, there is no deductive reasoning, there's no if and or, and you're not utilizing your dendritic cells, then what? Then what? I usually tell most students, when I'm working with them, don't take that away from a person. Allow them
Yeah.
to go through it. It's their right because it enhances them. But unless you're going to be with them forever, otherwise you make them deficient.
Yes.
And so imagine our grandchildren trying to make a decision about whether they should climb up a tree or not to get a ball that's up like 10 feet, 2 feet above. So we have to consider all these things. It definitely will affect society in ways that I can't fathom, but I don't think I'm really concerned about our interaction. In what
Yes.
sense? How are we going to counterbalance that? Again, technology is not the bad. We've been aggregating is the use of it,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the use of it. And with this, personally, dumb dumb is not even the word. Nobody is going to be home between the two ears. Empty. No one is home.
I think this is why rites of passage programs are so key for us, because I think we have to be training our youth in the ancient ways alongside with the technology. So they spend some time out in nature where they have to learn to. This is where the yabba pot and the ital sip. If we can standardize that so that the youths them have to go through a process where they learn to build a fire, they learn to cut waste, they learn to build a house out of nature, and we put them through that. At the same time, they're learning the programming and the STEAM, you know what I mean? So they get a balance of nature and technology. I think that's how we counter, so that they're proficient. There's times when they don't have access. If it's a rites of passage program, my son is in a rites of passage program right now, and they're banned from social media during the program. I mean, it's a Pan-African rites of passage program, and he's not allowed, and they go on camping trips, they go on hikes, and they do different things to ground them into nature. If they mess up, there's a group of them, and them all have to do push-ups, and so they build them thing that we need something like that within Rastafari, that teaches our levity, the great aspects of the Asian trad, but then they also get the other side with the technology. And I think if we can balance those two, now we have a whole person that is ready to face the challenges that this modern world is going to bring. Because there will be times like Melissa where, guess what, internet now going to help you because everything blow away. You know what I mean? You need to know how to forage and build a fire and build up a little tattoo, and you know what I mean, build up a little house for protect your family. If you don't have those skills, you're in problems. but there's also a time when you have Wi-Fi and you can create an online business and make money while you sleep too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the two of them have to be balanced. How do I feel about the rite of passage?
Oh, wow. I've been doing rites of passage for over 20 something years. So lots
Okay.
of children have gone through.
Give
I mean,
thanks.
young ladies and yeah, and blessing ways and those things. So um, cultural practices has been important for me and my family. So my daughter, my son, myself. Um, and like our daughter, the young, well, she was the last one. She ended up going to Ghana in
Okay.
Port to have her final ceremony. Her and one
Okay.
other person that made it.
Okay.
So those tools, what Sekou Toure, Kwame Nkrumah says, you need to use the tools of your culture, and it's not
Yes.
just written in the book. It's our responsibility as Rastafari women, as African women, to institutionalize cultural tools that's going to help sustain
Yes.
uh, our children, our nation. And
Yes.
so, yeah, rites of passage is one of those. So, yeah, I
Beautiful.
support and I do them multiculturally because we're
Yes.
African people. So if
Yes.
you're African American, yeah, bring it. You
True.
know,
True. True.
yeah.
Well, I give thanks. I won't hold you. I know it's been a long day. I want to thank you for blessing us. A scientist we had tonight, high level, high frequency, Rastafari reasoning, no water down over here, family. You know what I mean? We got to the root here. And I want to thank you on behalf of the global Lion Voice family. Most people will watch this on the replay. Big up everyone who was here live with us, holding this joy. Big up all of our Lion Pride. My sister Emmanuel representing Haiti on the line. Rastafari is a science fam. Stem it up. Yes, big
Hi,
up.
Bobo.
Yes,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful. So, family, I want to give our guests a chance to give our final sounds to the global family. Again, this is the Lion Voice Network where the lions are telling our own story. You heard her story from her own mouth, so nobody can tell you about Empress Chipo. You turn on your thing and you hear from her herself. She tell you what she want to tell you. So give us your final sounds to the global family. Anything that you want to also share. If there's any product or service you have, we also encourage our audience to spend money with our guests. So if there's any causes you want to support or any way that we can aggregate capital, my vision is that my 57,000 subscribers would spend $10 with my guests every Wednesday, and we every Wednesday our guests wake up with 500,000 in their bank account. That's my vision. We're not there yet, but that's my vision for my guests. That can you imagine if we were able to capitalize our community like
Wow.
that? You know what I mean? So that's how I think of media. We want to reshape how we think about media, Rastafari media, and use the power of the collective. With $10, we can empower someone. So feel free to share any works that the I doing. No, again, this is the I platform. Any final sounds, the platform is the I.
Give thanks, my brother Kwesi, for the time, the moment, and the opportunity for sharing about STEM, the importance of STEAM, the importance of education and foundation and commitment to nation building. Again, the only way that we can move as Rastafari, as African people, Pan Africanists, to the next level from movement to nation building is by investing in education and our children's education such that we get the lawyers, the engineers, we get, the man that can lay a brick, come up with unique fossil fuels, come up with just all the things that we do need because moving forward with what we currently have, we are going to just be dependent. So we don't want anyone to be moving forward without having something that can be used for nation building. There are examples out there in the private industry, like girls code and boys code, and then there's other companies like Chevron and Mobil that's doing things. So you can look and find out, as parents, find out what's going on, and try to, but I would encourage you to encourage your children and support them, and support whatever organizations that you're engaged in, so that they can support the youths in STEAM learning. Or we don't have to use the acronym, but just be interested in
Yeah.
nation building. Straight up. The acronyms, forget it. Be involved in nation building. So I thank you very much, my brother, for everything.
Give thanks to the I. Give thanks to all of our guests. I want to just very quickly again highlight some of the works that is happening in Jamaica. Big up Ras Simba, bubble in a pot, sip, to help some of our Rastafari, making sure some of our brethren and sisters have a warm meal. Um, Very much destabilizing Hurricane Melissa. We have a huge issue of homelessness among our Rastafari family. A lot of them don't have any um, shelter right now. So big up the RMO volunteers who have been going out um, to uh, take care packages to the ones. Then there are several vehicles going out to drop off the care packages. We really do give thanks. We're asking the global family to support Rastafari Relief, Rebuild, Rise initiative. When we send to the general, remember that we don't eat bully beef, we don't eat tin mackerel, we don't eat certain things. So a lot of the things, I just heard a story as a sister at a shelter, and they're telling her she have to eat pork because that's what they have to serve, and she's there with her youth, and they're, almost mocking and jeering, say, what you going to eat? You're not going to eat nothing, you know what I mean? So we want to save our people from these situations and be able to provide. Right now, the help that's going in is not enough, but we give thanks for the ones who are going with whatever, and ones are coming out of their pocket. They're bubbling what they can, so what you see is not just RMO doing this work, it's many different entities, Rastafari rallying. We're trying to coordinate so that there's more coordination. The hurricane caught us not ready. We have to be honest. But the opportunity that is provided by the disaster is one for great unity, one for great vision, one for rebuilding in a new dynamic fashion. The goal for the RMO is 500,000. I think last time I checked, it was $950 raised. So we have a long way to go. So family, give what you can: $10, $5, 50, 100, 200, 10,000, whatever is in your means. Just give what you can, and remember that we are one. You know what I mean? We are one. Next year might be Barbados. Next year, Haiti also. I know there's some initiatives happening for Haiti. Cuba was also hit. So this is going to be a long-term situation. But right now, our Rastafari family, in particular in Jamaica, need help, and we don't just want to stabilize the immediate. We want to use the opportunity to rethink how we develop. We need working farms. We need to have our own food production. We need repatriation centers, skills training, a whole different paradigm. So we'll have more information on the long-term, mid-term planning. Right now, the relief is essential. So big up RMO family. Big up all of the ones them live who are watching from all sides and all tribes. This is Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. We're also asking ones to join us as monthly subscribers on the Lion Voice Network. We are an audience-funded platform, meaning everything that we pay for is paid for by our audience. That's how we stay independent. We're not trying to be beholden to sponsors and sponsorship. Our audience, which is the item, are the ones who power this. And we're going to evolve this into a full-scale production. We want Rastafari documentaries. We want Rastafari blockbuster film. We want Rastafari animated film. We want Rastafari sitcom too, comedy. Everything Rastafari. We supposed to have it. We have a culture that is a multi-billion-dollar culture, and it's time that we harness and create our own ecosystem. Why not? We are the ones that have to do it. So we are stepping in that arena, and we're going to do it with the IDEM funding. So we give thanks for everyone who is a monthly subscriber, and we're asking the family to join us on this great mission as we proceed. All of the ones them, we have our latest episode of the Road to Heaven on Earth is going to drop tomorrow at noon. We were just coming from Ghana. We were at the Kwaku Ando Sustainability Institute, a template for Heaven on Earth, fully off the grid, 5-acre campus. We had an ITAL certification reasoning, Black food sovereignty reasoning, Black sustainability summit reasoning at the center. I documented the whole journey. So make sure you subscribe and check out. The first episode is up. The second episode will go up tomorrow at noon. So big up all of the family, big up our guests. We are not going to stop, family. We're just getting started. Why? Because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is
Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the power to chant. Jah give her the power to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Ras Tafari.
Greetings, this is Ras Shiloh. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Shiloh said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yes, Jah people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. But people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Alright, listen to me now, people. The lion roar, no dog bark. See? The lion's voice with Kwasi Bansu. Time right now for the lion to tell his story. See? Listen up.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jah soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it, I Jalifa said that.
Yeah, now the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial I represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Have the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
I will never stop, hail the Most High. And I will never stop, call Ras Tafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Person. I'm saying hail to the Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.